This is VSiN PrimeTime. Live from the Circus Sportsbook in downtown Las Vegas on VSiN, the sports betting network.
We're off and running on a busy Tuesday evening. Alongside Matt Youmans, I'm Tim Murray. We're live from the Circus Sportsbook in downtown Las Vegas. Matt, we got the Pacers and Knicks tonight, and we've got the Edmonton Oilers taking on the Dallas Stars. Should be a fun night. Should be a fun night to live bet some of these games, and I know we both got a little pre-flop positions on both of these games. Last night, I'll say this. That was a fun game to watch. Sitting here, watching the T-Wolves and the Thunder. The Thunder never allowed the T-Wolves to take that run. They had an answer to everything, and Jalen Williams was tremendous. And the big three, if you want to call them that, in OKC, Matt, I thought really stepped up in a game that felt like a Minnesota spot that they had to have, and ultimately Oklahoma City said, nope, not going to happen.
Yeah, it was not a fun game to watch, so if you laid 3 with OKC Thunder.
Ooh, yeah.
So I can tell you did not lay the 3 last night with the Thunder.
I actually took the 7.5 for the T-Wolves at the end of the third quarter.
That's it, the live betting show, right? You take the 7.5 with the T-Wolves and you cash. Nice job. I know that plenty of people got burned. I looked at the results of the NBA contest, the Killer Sports VSiN NBA contest. I believe the contestants went 1-6 on that game last night, with 6 losers playing OKC -3. And that was a tough beat. The final minute of that game lasted about a half hour.
Yeah.
And playing the foul game, don't allow the 3. OKC, you can make an argument OKC should have been the right side, but you're not going to win that argument when you walk up to the window to cash your ticket. So 128-126 was the final last night. How about that flying over the total, too? Just
never in doubt.
Scorched the total, which what the total closed 219 last night. So I think sharper money was over the total. We got a hell of a game tonight. This Knicks-Pacers series has been phenomenal. Fired up for this game 4 in Indianapolis tonight, and we got a position on this as well. And, Tim, looking forward to it the next 4 hours. We have some great guests on the show tonight.
We do. Let's get you who's coming on the program here in less than 15 minutes. Our guy, Adam Burke. We'll talk a little Major League Baseball with Adam Burke. We will also chat with Chris Macero live in studio, the biggest believer at Oklahoma City out there in all the land. The mighty Chris Macero will join us in studio coming up bottom of the hour. The latest from behind the counter from Jeff Sherman right before tip-off between New York and Indiana. And also in that second hour, Matt, we'll talk to Matt Grill, who we always love chatting with. We'll talk a little college football with Matt Grill. Also, he's a big golf handicapper, and we will get to that. You have a bet on the Memorial, which we will talk about a little bit later on in the show. And speaking of golf, David Behrman will jump on the program as he normally does during football season, Matt, but we're going to talk some football. We're going to talk a little golf, maybe a little hockey with David Behrman, who will join us in the third hour of the show. So busy show ahead. And, of course, on the hardwood today, we've got Indiana taking on the New York Knicks. And on the ice mat, we've got a Game 5 between the Edmonton Oilers and the Dallas Stars. Excuse me, a Game 4, I beg your pardon, as Edmonton trying to take a 3-1 lead in that series. But the big game of the night that we will talk about the majority of this first hour and all throughout, the New York Knicks and the Indiana Pacers, and that is our VSiN Primetime Game of the Night.
The lights are on and the stakes are high. It's the Primetime Game of the Night.
3 games, 3 road victories. The Pacers taking games 1 and 2. Of course, the incredible Game 1 comeback from the Indiana Pacers, then winning that game in overtime. And then the New York Knicks, the never say die Knicks, have now come back 3 different times this postseason, down 20. They were down 55-35 in the second quarter on Sunday evening. They come back to win that game at 106-100. Karl Anthony Towns, phenomenal in that performance. And because of that number, what we saw in Game 3, Matt, we've seen some under money hit the market. This opened around 222, and right now market sitting at 219.5 for Knicks and Pacers. But you have a side that interests you here tonight.
I do, and we should be honest with the listeners, with the viewers out there, that we have a pre-show meeting every day, and we map this show out. Right, Tim?
Yeah,
and today we had a debate. Our producer thought the game of the night should be Chicago Phoenix in the WNBA. And,
I thought Paige Becker's return to Connecticut was going to be high up there,
well,
too.
you wanted that, and I said that we got to go with Knicks Pacers.
That's
so
true.
Let's go.
You know, the senior here, the senior at the network, you've been here the longest, you get to trump us.
I had to overrule you guys. It was a very difficult decision, but we're going to go with Knicks Pacers tonight. There were some other great games on the card, but we'll go with this. 5 for 25 is what the Pacers shot from 3 in Game 3 on Sunday night. And they're a better three-point shooting team than that. They missed a bunch of open looks. You can give the Knicks credit for being better defensively, but I think the bottom line is the Pacers missed a lot of open threes in that game. Also scored 42 points in the second half. Pacers need to push the pace and force the Knicks to play faster. Pacers are deeper. They have more shooters. Karl Anthony Towns went berserk in the fourth quarter and scored 20 points, finished with 24. There are a lot of things, kind of a perfect storm that worked against the Pacers in the second half. I think Rick Carlisle is the type of coach who makes a lot of smart adjustments. I trust him a little bit more than Tom Thibodeau within this series. And we played a clip last night of Tyrese Halliburton, the Pacers point guard. We don't always play clips just to kill time. Some of the clips actually have valuable interviews with him. Mm-hmm. Halliburton said last night, or yesterday in the clip that we played, that he caught himself walking the ball up the court too many times in the second half. And I think it's a very revealing comment because the point guard's job is to dictate the pace, and the Pacers want to play faster. When Halliburton said, I caught myself walking the ball up the court too much, Tim, you can bet that's not going to happen tonight. Pacers are going to play faster. Halliburton's going to play faster. And when they spread the floor with shooters and spread out that Knicks defense, that's when the Pacers are most effective. I like him tonight. I don't think they're going to drop 2 in a row at home. And I did play the Pacers -2. I played them at -130. And, of course, I've got the Knicks in the series and over 5.5 games in the series. But it's not really a hedge. I just believe the Pacers are going to be the right side.
You know, I was thinking about it, Matt. I'm not to be classic sports talky here. How big is this game for the Indiana Pacers? But, boy, if they lose this one, and that would be all 4 games going to the road team, it would feel like, man, that pendulum has swung all the way back to the New York Knicks. But that being said, it might have the Pacers right where they want them because this team kind of thrives in that underdog, nobody believes in us role. So Game 5, it might be a good opportunity if the Knicks were to win tonight to maybe back the Pacers at Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, I don't even want to consider that scenario right now. I believe what's going to happen is the Pacers win tonight and the Knicks win Game 5. And then the Knicks,
thank God, please. Yes, let's let that happen.
Yeah. And then the Knicks, who have been a pretty good road team throughout the playoffs, and they won in Boston, obviously. Then the Knicks are going to have to go to Indianapolis and win Game 6 to keep the series alive and force it to 7. And they can do it. As you and I were talking before the show, is the road team going to win every game in this series? What's going on?
Yeah, that was in our...
You think you got 2 strong home courts here, and the road team's winning every game.
That was in our extensive pre-show meeting.
It
was while I was eating a Subway sandwich over there. By the way, Tyrese Halliburton, you mentioned that clip. Let's hear from the Pacers superstar Tyrese Halliburton as they head into Game 4, up 2-1.
I mean, with other guys playing, those are, I think those, especially all 4 of the guys who played off the bench are really defensive guys, and they come in and wreak havoc. And I thought we just didn't do a good job of, continuing to play fast. I felt like I did a poor job of keeping pace in the game, especially in the fourth there. I felt like I was walking the ball up every play. So I know it's a big area of improvement for me. I already know that's what I'm going to see on the film most of the time. So just got to do a better job of keeping pace in the game. Obviously a 42-point half isn't us. So we'll see what we can do better there, and we'll improve on it.
So he's
42 points in the second half, not going to cut it.
So the question I ponder is, did he give us an answer in the total here tonight? The total, Game 1, 221.5, flew over. 125, end of regulation, 138, 135 final score. Game 2, right on the number. 224 was the close, 114, 109 the final score. And then Game 3 was a pretty easy under if you did take the under. 106 to 100 the final score, 223.5. So we've seen an adjustment, Matt. This thing opened around 222. It's now down to 219.5. That is the lowest total we've seen posted in all 4 games of this series. So you heard it from Tyrese Halliburton. Do we see that up tempo? And do we see maybe this Pacers team that, as you alluded to, struggled so mightily scoring in the second half? Do we see them start to make a little bit better shots as they went just 5 of 25 from 3 in game number 3?
Well, the Pacers are a better shooting team than that. There's no question. The numbers prove it. 5 for 25. from 3 on Sunday night was uncharacteristic to this team. I expect the Pacers to shoot it better, play at a faster pace. If you're betting the over, it's not just about pace. You got to have shot making too, and I think we'll see that from the Pacers tonight. I talked about this last night. I didn't think 2 was the right number in this game. Pacers were 2-point favorites pretty much across the board last night. We talked about this. We're seeing a move up, but just a little bit. Here at Circa, it's 2.5 minus 115. Westgate Superbook, DraftKings, South Point, Caesars, a bunch of offshore books have all moved to 3 now on this game, so a little bit more betting support for the Pacers. I thought 2 was a bargain price. I laid 2 and I laid 130 on the Pacers. And this one, I see Julian Edlow of DraftKings put this out. This does not surprise me either because Jalen Brunson was in foul trouble Sunday night. He scored 23 points. It was one of his least effective playoff games. The most bet NBA player prop, Brunson over 29.5 points tonight. And I would agree with that. I think if the Knicks are going to have a shot to win this game, Brunson's going to have to go off. You can't count on Karl Anthony Towns doing that 2 games in a row.
Aaron Nesmith will play tonight, dealing with that ankle injury, but he is progressing well and is expected to play tonight there for the Indiana Pacers. Tip-off a little after 8 o'clock. Bunch of guests for you to help us break down this show. And, hey, just a reminder, we've got articles over at VSiN.com right now breaking down tonight's action both on the ice and the hardwood. And you can get access to that right now with our great deal we've got offering. 2 months free to a year subscription, so 14 months for $199. That's less than 50 cents a day. You get our best bets emailed to you, those betting splits, the NFL and college football betting guides, VSIN.com/subscribe. PRO is the promo code.
This is VSiN PrimeTime on VSiN, the sports betting network.
It is VSiN PrimeTime here on a, as mentioned, busy Tuesday night. That's Matt Youmans. I'm Tim Murray, live from the Circa Sportsbook in downtown Las Vegas. Chris Macero will join us here in studio in less than 15 minutes, Matt, to talk a little Game 4 between the New York Knicks and the Indiana Pacers. And we will also look ahead to what is on the forefront for the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Minnesota Timberwolves. But we do have a little breaking news as we were watching this game right before we got on air, and Spencer Strider with a fastball up and in hit Bryce Harper in the elbow, and he went down in a heap of pain. He has left tonight's game. He will not return for the Philadelphia Phillies. And that's a transition to bring in our guest, Adam Burke, courtesy of our progressive guest line. And Adam, as we're watching Phillies and Braves right now, it's scoreless in the second inning. And we were talking about it briefly, all three of us off the air. Because of that brutal start to the season for the Braves, starting 0-7, they were behind the 8 ball at plus 750. And who knows how significant this injury is. Are the Braves someone that you're curious about in that NL East market right now?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, look, I don't know the severity of the Harper thing. Obviously, it just happened, right? They'll have to wait for swelling to go down. Initial x-rays will probably be negative. That's kind of how these things go. But I've been waiting. I've been waiting and looking for the right time to bet on the Braves to win the NL East. If the Harper thing is a thing, we'll see if that's a good time to make the bet, because they still have 3 against Boston, 3 against Arizona, 3 against San Francisco on the road coming up. After that, they play 3 at Milwaukee, who can't hit their way out of a paper bag right now and has very, very suspect pitching. 3 at home against Colorado, 3 at home against the Mets, 3 on the road against the Marlins. I think mid-June might be the buy point to take a shot on Atlanta to win this division. Strider should be back into some kind of form, and who knows, maybe he'll continue to struggle a little bit here tonight. Grant Holmes has only given up 4 runs in his last 19 1/3 innings pitched. A.J. Smith-Shawver seems like the next developmental success for the Braves. And you'll get Ronald Acuna Jr. back in full force by the middle of the month, where he's coming off the torn ACL. Timing's still a bit of an issue, stuff like that. I think we're probably looking for something around June 9th is about the time that I think I'm going to be ready to take a Braves future in the NL East, so long as they don't have any big injuries prior to that.
What's the best price out there right now? About 8-1 on the Braves to win the division?
I know DraftKings is at 750.
I would say you probably find 8-1 out there somewhere. I mean, look, I also think that, unless they go on some kind of run, which is possible. But I mean, their upcoming schedule is pretty challenging. I don't think the price is going to move too much off of that.
Right.
So, it could even get slightly worse. Who knows? But I still think it's worth waiting here on this until their schedule softens up a little bit, because this is a team that tends to play better as the summer goes along. And so I think we're very close to the Braves being just about ready to take off a little bit.
I remember, Adam, you probably remember this. June of 2022, I was at Petco Park for a Padres-Phillies game, and Blake Snell hit Bryce Harper in the hand with a 97-mile-an-hour fastball and broke his thumb. Do you recall that? And how long?
I do.
Yeah, how long? Harper was out for a while. So you think if he is suffers some similar injury here and is out for quite a while, you think that's going to cause the Phillies to fall a little bit in the standings?
I mean, I don't know if fall is the right word, but right now, I mean, they're playing 640 baseball. That's very, very hard to keep up, in today's game where you've got a lot of parity of a lot of teams where the similarities really aren't, or where the differences really aren't that big. I do think that, again, you've already got Taijuan Walker in this rotation because you're kind of dealing with something with Aaron Nola. Ranger Suarez this season got off to a late start. Christopher Sanchez is a guy that's, occasionally had some arm problems pop up. I mean, Zach Wheeler is the only guy who seems to be impervious to anything in this rotation. And keep in mind, while Jesus Luzardo is pitching at a top 10 type of level in the National League right now, that's a guy who never stays healthy either. So I'm not saying that the Phillies are going to fall necessarily, but I do think they're going to kind of regress towards their mean, which does allow a team like Atlanta to possibly move in there and make things a lot tighter and give them a real run come September.
I'd agree with that. I think the Braves are going to be on the rise over the summer, too. All right, so you mentioned a couple teams, the Red Sox and the Brewers. Let's talk about that. Do you have a play on this game tonight with Milwaukee? It's basically a pick-em game, total of 8.5.
Yeah, so this is one where we didn't know who was going to start for Boston this morning. It was either going to be Cooper Criswell or Richard Fitz. I would hate for my name to be Dick Fitz. That's a terrible name to have, but he is back, off of a rehab assignment here, making this start tonight for Boston. Honestly, I didn't care if it was Fitz or Criswell getting the start, because the play in this game to me is on Boston's lineup against Aaron Savali. Aaron Savali is a guy, he's kind of a kitchen sink Arsenal type of guy, tries to induce a lot of weak contact, but he doesn't have a whole lot of swing and miss in the profile. The biggest issue for Boston throughout the course of this season has been how much they swing and miss. They have the third highest swinging strike percentage in the league this season. When they don't swing and miss, when they're not striking out, they're a very potent offensive team. So I don't think it's a good matchup here for Savali tonight. I think Boston's offense should be able to do some things. The Brewers' offense has struggled pretty much all year long, especially over the last couple of weeks here. So I went ahead and took Boston. I think if you are maybe a little bit concerned about Fitz or their bullpen or something like that, Boston first 5 team total over, full game team total over. Those are alternative ways to play this, but I did take the plus money price on Boston earlier today, and I still think they're worth it at even money or minus 105.
Adam Burke is joining us right now, courtesy of our Progressive Guest Line, managing editor of VSiN.com. Right now, you could read his write-ups for tonight's baseball card. Another game that you have on your card here tonight as we look at it. Cincinnati at Kansas City. Right now, the Royals around a minus 117 favorite here at Circa, minus 20 at DraftKings. What do you like in Royals-Reds tonight?
So this is basically going to be a Johnny Holstaff type of game here for the Royals. They're going to start Daniel Lynch. He's not really stretched out, probably 30 pitches max type of guy. So we'll see if that's an inning and a third, if he can get through 2 innings, something like that. But it'll be a bullpen game here for the Royals by and large. And Brian Sweeney, their pitching coach, who was the Guardians bullpen coach, he's done a phenomenal job there in Kansas City. Obviously, we know what Cole Reagans is doing. Chris Bubich is now following that same path as well. I think eventually Daniel Lynch could. He's a guy with really, really good stuff who I think should be starting, but they're taking it easy with him coming off of an injury last season. Maybe they'll start to stretch him out a little bit. I don't know. But I like the idea of the Royals, who have a very good bullpen, top 5 in ERA this season, by the way. Just a full all-hands-on-deck approach for them. And Brady Singer is a guy who spent 7 years in the Royals organization, 5 years at the big league level with them. He's basically a 2-pitch pitcher. Sinker, slider, sweeper, whatever you want to call it type of guy. But he's basically a 2-pitch guy. And right now, neither one of those pitches working. 4 May starts for him, 7.85 ERA, 5.74 FIP, 10 strikeouts, 10 walks. You never want to see that kind of strikeout to walk ratio out of a guy. And because they know this guy so well, They know his tendency. They know his philosophy. They know his pitch usage and his patterns in certain counts, in certain situations, stuff like that. As a two-pitch pitcher, that is a really big problem for you when you are not commanding anything that you throw right now. So I like the Royals here. I think they could take advantage of their former teammate, and the Reds' offense is not particularly good, and they're going to face a bunch of guys with different arm slots today.
Adam Burke with us breaking down baseball. Hey, before we get to tonight's game, I want to hit you up on here. What do we have coming out, VSiN.com, or what are we going to be producing here for college baseball? We had the NCAA tournament draw on Monday.
Yeah, so we're going to be doing some college baseball stuff. Aaron Moore's been doing that already. He's got some good stuff for us up over at the website. And then also Matt Grissom. You know, while he's not technically employed by VSiN, he's a regular guest for us. College Baseball Insiders does a lot of great stuff with the NCAA baseball side of things. So he'll be helping us out here with some guides for the College World Series.
Aaron Moore, Matt Grissom, great lineup for college baseball. So check that out, VSiN.com. The games get going this week. How about tonight? Yankees and Angels. Yankees are hot right now. They're on this West Coast trip, and we got a good pitching matchup tonight. Rodon against Anderson. But Yankees a big price here, minus 202 at circa 218 at DraftKings, total of 8.5, and the Angels have cooled off, Adam.
Yeah, and the Angels are really, really bad against lefties. I played the Yankees run line yesterday with the Angels going up against Ryan Yarbrough, who, by the way, the Yankees did this really landmark thing where they told Ryan Yarbrough to stop throwing his worst pitch as often as he does. And now he's wound up being really effective, which I don't know how other teams can't figure this thing out, but the Yankees certainly have. And look, I mean, Carlos Rodon was pretty bad for 3 of his first 4 starts of the season, and he's been really good for a while since. Tyler Anderson, pitch to contact guy, doesn't miss a lot of bats, not the same ground ball guy that he used to be either. That seems like a pretty bad matchup against this Yankees offense. He's got a 5.23 FIP, 3.60 ERA. There's some negative regression signs already in the profile. I didn't write this one up for the website, got a bit of a late start this morning, but I took the Yankees run line again here. I mean, the Angels are just not a very good team. They're not good against lefties. They've walked less than 4% of the time against southpaws, and they've struck out over 26% of the time. Seems like a good chance for Carlos Rodon to throw a good game tonight, and the Yankees give him some offensive support.
Well, all you have to do in order to be a successful bettor is just bet Shohei Ohtani anytime homer, because he just hit another one. His 20th of the season, 3 games in a row. Adam, always appreciate it, sir, and best of luck with your bets tonight.
Have a good one, guys.
There he is, Adam Burke, our managing editor of VSiN.com. And yes, very excited for all of the content we've got coming out regarding the College World Series. That's Matt Youmans. I'm Tim Murray. Chris Macero, he's going to join us in studio. You know, he's been very calm on social media these past couple of weeks. We'll talk some Oklahoma City Thunder and tonight's game, as well as the Knicks take on the Pacers.
This is VSiN PrimeTime on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Got a pair of Game 4s tonight. The Edmonton Oilers and the Dallas Stars, and the Indiana Pacers and New York Knicks. The Pacers and Oilers both up 2-1, and both at home tonight. That's Matt Youmans. I'm Tim Murray, and to help us break those games down, maybe look ahead to tomorrow, the biggest Oklahoma City Thunder fan in all the land, the one and only Chris Macero, joins us right here. Chris, kidding aside, I saw your tweets. You have, I don't know if you've turned a page, but that was a hell of a game last night. And I was, now I am not a OKC musher like you, or anti-musher like you, but that was a hell of a game. And they took every punch, and they followed up with a pretty good response last night.
Yeah, I thought it was the best game. I mean, there's been some crazy comebacks where you could say the game's been better.
Sure.
The Pacers game 1 against the Knicks obviously was amazing. You're not going to forget where you were if you're watching that game. But I thought last night's game was just one of the mano-a-mano, back and forth. There was the biggest lead, I think, was 11 by OKC. Minnesota, for as good as they played, everyone's seen all the stats. Teams that shot that well from 3 and hit 18 threes were 55-0 in the playoffs, until last night. But I mean, they only as good as they played, they only took a 2-point lead, and it was just like, wow, Minnesota. It's like in a horse race when the horse leads the whole way and gets nipped at the wire. It's like, wow, that horse ran too good to lose. And I feel like Minnesota played too good to lose. I mean, I'm happy they lost. Worked out well for me. But I mean, just what an effort by Minnesota. All the other guys showed up. I'm not sure what's going on with Randall and Ant, but I mean, DiVincenzo, what a night. Just a great, exciting basketball game. I was watching at the Win, and just everyone in the sports book was just like, wow, that was just a great game. I was just happy to be a part of watching it.
NBA playoffs been great the past couple of weeks. If you followed Chris Macero on Twitter, you probably think that he's a madman. But look at him; he's just a normal human being.
Normal guy.
I told him this, Matt. I get worried about him. I get worried about him. I'm like, is his blood pressure like? I don't know what a high blood pressure is, but he told me he's fine. He's feeling good. Yeah. So I'm happy for you.
Well, he called OKC the most overrated team in NBA history. I don't know how many times. And then last night, you were all complimentary of the Thunder.
Well, I will say, and JVT was he was hammering me this morning. I wake up this morning, at a normal hour. He's up at 4:05 tweeting me.
JVT's an early riser.
4:05. And he was saying, "Whoa, not too shabby for the most overrated team in history." And I go, two things can be right. They could have played awesome. SGA had an amazing game. I mean, the play where he throws it under his legs and Williams hits the three, just one of those marquee plays you'll never forget if you're an OKC fan. But two things can be correct. They can be an awesome team with a great net rating and all this power rating nonsense that I don't always agree with, but they also can be overrated because they have not covered a game in the playoffs on the road.
On the road,
they have not covered a road playoff game. They haven't, and there's a couple home games they didn't cover too. So it's not like they aren't a tad bit overrated. Last night they played awesome. They still only won the game by 2, but I'm excited. Hopefully tomorrow night they wrap it up. If they don't wrap it up tomorrow night, I do have some plus 2.5 games on Minnesota that I wouldn't mind cashing, but I don't want to risk it. I don't want to go back to Minnesota game 6 and then have a game 7. Not interested in that.
Yeah, I wouldn't say OKC is definitely overrated. I think a lot of people have overrated the team a little bit, but not the most overrated team in history. I mean, we might have to go back a year to the Boston Celtics of last year.
That's a great point. That's one of the teams that this team was reminding me of. They were just like, oh my God, they're just making them 10, 11, 12-point favorites. And then they come out and they're down by 6 at the first quarter. Or the Celtics lost by 40 last year to the Heat, who had nobody. Just crazy. I mean, I don't know.
Boston did win the title last year, right?
They did. Okay, but the path, we all know the path was the cakewalk of all cakewalks. No Mitchell, no Jimmy Butler, no.
They still have the parade?
They did have the parade. Yeah. No Donovan Mitchell, no Halliburton.
Banner's still hanging?
The banner is still hanging. But
I'm talking to a Boston fan.
I'm happy. I was rooting for him this year. I wanted him in there. But I just think the variance now with the 3-point shooting is so extreme that at any night, I was talking to Matt off air, if the Pacers don't shoot above 32% from 3, they cannot win. They just don't win games when they don't shoot above 32%. That's not even a great percentage. Last game they shot 20%. They have no shot. They're 1 for 7 in the fourth quarter. So I think they turn it around tonight. I'm expecting a higher scoring game. I like the Pacers hopefully to go up 3-1.
All right, before we analyze that game a little bit deeper, explain your position on OKC because you've got OKC Thunder futures. And how have you hedged those?
Yeah.
I'm sure you have to some extent.
Yeah, I mean, I've given some, I've hedged. I had to hedge a little bit on Denver, unfortunately. I can't believe I had to do it. But what basically essentially happened was I gave out on Super Bowl weekend, the Friday before, I put in 2, I had it a little bit from before with the Eagles beating Kansas City, but what I gave out on the show was all total Eagles 31.5. It was a plus 500 bet. I linked it up with the 4 teams I thought could win the title in college basketball, which were Florida, Houston, Auburn, and Duke, and I put them with OKC in the West. And the Florida one ended up being, a 200-to-1 shot. So I essentially have $300 to make $60,000 on OKC just
to win the West?
Just to win the West.
Okay.
So that's why I get a little upset about it because it shouldn't be this difficult going to 7 games versus a Denver team that only has 3.5 players and 2.5 in the game.
Yeah, I'm interested in this too because I know how you work with these things. So you bet 300 pays off 60,000. What will your actual profit be after all the hedges are
I probably gave along the way. I gave back probably like close to 10,000 on the way.
It's not bad. No.
But there is some scenarios where you're actually winning some bets too along the way. I also have a strong position on Indiana. I had that 25-to-1 from before the playoffs started. So
to win the East or to win the title?
Just to win the East.
Okay.
And like our friend Scott Tribuca used to say, there's no reason to include the title. Just bet the conferences. Because that way you can bet both sides and you can come to a position where you can play. So the last couple of nights, I've been doing these rolling 5-point teasers with the opposite of what I need. Minnesota and Knicks, Minnesota and Knicks, Minnesota and Knicks. And some of them have been winning. So I had it last night, Minnesota, which covered, with the Knicks again tonight. But I have an 8-point middle to play with where I can take Indiana money line. I could take Indiana minus 2.5. I'm just going to play the money line, and I also like the over. But we'll see. I'm going to believe Halliburton. I think they're going to run and gun tonight. And again, Knicks don't have a lot of depth.
At Real Gauge is where you can find Chris on Twitter, and he's a very calm person to follow, very level-headed. It's funny, you didn't tweet all that much after in Game 7 after Oklahoma City overcame that 17-point deficit. But we move on.
Well,
Knicks and Pacers. I want to get to Knicks and Pacers because we only got 3 minutes left here. All right, so you've kind of alluded to it. So you like the over and you like the Pacers here tonight. Right now, current market sits 219.5. If you like the over, that's the lowest total I see. And if you do like the Pacers, if you want to go money line, minus 145 here at Circa, 2.5, 3 is the number. So how are we looking to play tonight?
Yeah, when I came in to Circa earlier, it was 220.5, and I liked it over 220.5, and I just think it comes down to the variance if Indiana's going to make shots or not. I don't think they're going to have a similar shooting effect as they had in game 3, where I said they only shot 20%. They were 1 for 7 in the fourth quarter. As Halliburton alluded to in the press conference after the game, he said, hey, I was walking the ball up. I was not pressing the pace. It wasn't my style of play. That's not the team that they are. So I just expect Indiana, and I think Carlisle is a smart enough guy. They're going to press the pace. The Knicks are not going to have Brunson, even though I think Tibbs would maybe want to keep him out of the game a little bit more. They're obviously not going to do that. They're not going to have Landry Shamet play, and they're going to have that unit in there, and they're going to run, and they're going to shoot the threes, and they're going to shoot them better than 20%. The stat is 32% or higher. They win most of the games. Every game in the playoffs, if they've shot 32% or higher, they've won. So I anticipate a better shooting effort from Indiana. I'd like the game to go over. The Knicks aren't a great defensive team. I don't think anything the Knicks did in the fourth quarter was the reason why, the game didn't go over. They just stopped scoring. I just feel Indiana's going to have a good bounce back. They've had a good bounce back. They just, for some reason, they don't play well in game 3s, but game 4s they've come to play each game in the playoffs. So we'll see.
When the Pacers were up 20, you were talking about Pacers sweep, Pacers just being the better team. I thought the Pacers fell asleep at the wheel. They stopped running. They stopped making shots, and that's why I think they're going to respond tonight. Do you feel like the Pacers are the better team, and do you feel like the Pacers can give the Thunder a good run in the finals if that's the matchup we get?
I do. The only question I have is that Indiana doesn't play a lot of defense, and we've seen how great OKC's defense is. It's been the best unit in the playoffs by far of any unit that was in the playoffs and still remaining in the playoffs. But I do agree that Indiana, very, very, very depth. They have a lot of depth on their team. They play 9 guys. They're not afraid to bring guys off the bench, all who can shoot threes. They have some length. They have some size. They have Halliburton. I mean,
I'll give you one more thing.
That's what I want.
They've got a coaching edge too.
I would 100% agree with that. Dagno, very head scratching sometimes. And even last night, I wanted him to foul up 3, but why are they fouling in the backcourt? There's no reason to foul in the backcourt. I mean, the guy's not going to shoot a half-court shot to try to tie the game with 8 seconds left. At least let him get into the front court and maybe make the foul. The guy's made some questionable decisions. He gave away the first game against Denver. We all saw that. So he drives me a little nuts.
A little nuts.
Yeah, Carlisle's great. Hey, listen, quick Carlisle story. I know we're running out of time. Ex-Celtic, took his wife to that Grateful Dead concert that Bill Walton got him the tickets for. That's when they were dating. They were married right after that. So ex-Celtic Rick Carlisle, ex-NBA champ Rick Carlisle. Let's go Pacers.
The always calm Chris Macero. Follow him on Twitter at Real Gauge.
If you work in quality control at a candy factory, you know strict safety regulations come with the job. It's why you partner with Grainger. Grainger helps you find the high-quality and compliant products your business needs to inspect, detect, and help correct issues. And the sweetest part is, everyone gets a product that's as safe to eat as it is delicious. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This is VSiN PrimeTime on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Thanks to Chris Macero for joining us in studio. The latest from Behind the Counter with Jeff Sherman of the Westgate Superbook coming up top of the hour. We're live from the Circus Sportsbook in downtown Las Vegas. That's Matt Youmans. I'm Tim Murray. And Matt, common thought process there from Chris Macero and you like the Pacers. He likes the over and the Pacers as well. Total ticking down just a little bit here at Circa, at least, Matt. So if you're looking for the best price on Indiana and the total, if you like the over, Circa would be your place to shop. 219 is right now where we sit for a total, 2.5 minus 15 for Indiana.
Well, the casino where we used to host shows, the South Point.
Yep.
Now has the best number on the Knicks, and the total is 220. So that's the highest in the market, 220. And if you like New York, you get plus 3.5 at South Point. I did lay 2 with the Pacers. I laid 130. I don't have a strong opinion on the total. I lean over. Again, you're depending on the shot making, too. It's not just about the pace, Tim. The pace obviously helps. The Pacers are going to force this into a faster paced game, but you got to make shots as well. And Pacers didn't make those shots in Game 3. I think they're going to fall tonight. 5 for 25 from 3 in Game 3. Pacers are better than that, much better than that. And you know that 42 points they put up in the second half, unacceptable. They played a great first half, and I think sometimes you just fall asleep at the wheel when you get a big lead. We see it a lot of times in NBA games. We saw it with the Celtics, getting up 20 on the Knicks and falling asleep with the lead. So I do like the Pacers bounce back tonight, and they have a strong home court advantage. Teams like that typically don't drop back-to-back home games. I was thrilled, believe me, when the Knicks won on Sunday night because we have a lot of bets on the Knicks. We need to stay alive in this series.
Yeah, we do.
But it did not look good most of the way. And Karl Anthony Towns saved the day with that 20-point fourth quarter and some of those crazy shots he hit.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And just taking a look at right now, the prop market right now as we look at it, and Tyrese Halliburton is, for his over-under tonight, he is sitting at 21.5. Karl Anthony Towns, 21.5, had 20 alone in the fourth quarter, Matt, and then Jalen Brunson, 29.5. What do we expect from Jalen Brunson tonight with the foul trouble keeping him sidelined for a little bit? And it was interesting to kind of watch that game. And when they needed that big bucket, tied at 98, Jalen Brunson was able to do it. But what is notable, Matt, is the concerns about their defense. And when Brunson and Towns are on the floor together, the defensive rating is quite terrible. So we'll see how Tom Thibodeau puts it all together here tonight with those two on the floor at the same time.
Yeah, the two guys you lean on the most on the offensive end are not defensive stoppers.
No.
And that's certainly the case with the Knicks. Jalen Brunson, I thought, had one of his quietest playoff games. 31 minutes, he had 23 points. But Brunson made all of his hay at the free throw line, most of it. 10 for 10. He was 1 for 5 from 3. Wasn't really that effective in the game. And I think Tibbs was okay with keeping him on the bench for stretches because he was putting better defenders out there on the floor. Julian Edlow of DraftKings tweeted out today, the most bet player prop tonight is Brunson over 29.5 points. And I would agree. I think Brunson's going for 30-plus in this one. The Pacers don't have many defensive stoppers either. That's their weakness.
Yeah, if you're looking for some alt numbers, if you like doing the ladders, Jalen Brunson, 35-plus points is plus 195. 40-plus points is plus 450 right now at DraftKings. Over-under 29.5 right now is juice minus 120 to the over. Matt, let's get to our best bets for these two games. Of course, the other game of note, the Edmonton Oilers and the Dallas Stars. The Edmonton Oilers able to pull away in Game 3 up in Edmonton, and they have a 2-1 series lead. We'll get to that game here in just a moment, but you've mentioned it a couple times. Let's get to your best bet once again for Pacers and Knicks.
My best bet?
Yes, your best bet.
Pacers -2 and Pacers minus 130. I played them. And again, I always say that there's not a big advantage. Sometimes you can't find a big edge betting these games before the tip, and you're better off betting them live. So I didn't make huge bets on the Pacers tonight on the spread or the money line. I'll also leave the door open in case I want to bet something live, depending on how the game unfolds. But I got a pretty good stance tonight on the Pacers, laying 2, laying 130. And again, in the series, talk about bets. Not going to sweep it under the rug. You and I have got some bets we're not crazy about. Will Hill and I talked about this on the Friday night show. Will Hill and I both have Knicks in 7 at 4-1 odds. I've got the Knicks in the series minus 150, And you and I both have over 5.5 games in this series. At what was the price on that? 160.
Well, I laid this 70.
Yeah. So we need this to get over 5.5 games. Wouldn't be the worst thing in the world if the Knicks win tonight, obviously. But I didn't really bet this as a hedge, somewhat of a hedge. But I believe the Pacers are going to win this game tonight. They should have won Game 3. Like I said, fell asleep at the wheel with the 20-point lead. Didn't play their type of offensive game in the second half. And when you let a team hang around like the Knicks hung around, in the I'll say right before the half in the third quarter, a lot of times you pay the price, and the Pacers paid it on Sunday night. I think they bounce back. I don't see the Pacers dropping back-to-back road games here.
I'm with you. I have not bet it yet. I'll see how this game goes, and that's why we love having these games on in studio, and that's what we try to do. Last night, you and I were waiting for a T-Wolves spot, and at the end of the third quarter, right when we were about to sign off, I said, all right, 7.5. I think you're going to see a fight here from the T-Wolves, and was fortunate enough to bring that one home. So no pre-game position, but I think I'll be in a similar mindset. I think I like the Pacers here, and I do like the over a little bit too. You can get, kind of funny on DraftKings. You can mess with some alt overs and whatnot. I was just messing around there, see what prices you get. Pacers money line, and you go over 204.5 at -110. So if you want to kind of go that route, but I think I'll be with you, but I think I'm going to watch and see how this one plays out from the jump there.
While we're talking best bets, I need to mention this because I don't know if you've ever met the man known as Pimlico Frank Carulli. Do you know Pimlico
I don't think
Frank?
so, no.
All right, so Pimlico Frank hangs out at the Westgate Sportsbook pretty much 7 days a week. Bets the horses, bets everything. He's got strong opinions on stuff. I run into Pimlico Frank last night after I leave the show here, and he says, Game of the Year coming up. I got the Game of the Year coming up in hockey on Wednesday night.
Okay.
I mean, that's strong. Game of the Year is strong. Right?
Wednesday night. So tomorrow night, Florida and Carolina.
He has got the Carolina Hurricanes winning 2 in a row in this series. Carolina right now is plus 110.
Wow.
Here at Circa. He says the Hurricanes will win again. There's a key player out for the Florida Panthers, by the way. Frank says Carolina is the Game of the Year. So
all right.
Take it for what it's worth. I did not play Dallas Edmonton tonight. Edmonton up 2-1 in the series. That's the way I lean in this game, but I did not play that. But if you want to take Pimlico Frank Carulli's advice, he says the Game of the Year is the Carolina Hurricanes plus 110 on Wednesday night.
Matt, last night we got an easy first period under. Never in doubt.
Good call by you.
Let's go back to the well, baby. Let's tighten this thing up.
What do you have tonight?
Plus 115, first period under between the Stars and the Oilers. Oilers, how about this, Matt? If you remove the third period of Game 1.
Under 2.
The Oilers have outscored the Dallas Stars 12-2. They have been dominant. I think you get a good performance from Dallas, at least early on. Ottinger's got to play better, and Edmonton looks like the right side. However, it is worth noting here, Matt, we're starting to see some late money come in on the Dallas Stars. Circa just dropped 3 cents down to -137. You mentioned the Westgate Superbook, and we're going to talk to Jeff Sherman coming up top of the hour. They're down at -129 on the Edmonton Oilers. So if you're like Pimlico Joe and hang out at the Westgate Superbook, Pimlico Frank. Why do I think Pimlico Joe?
All right. Sounds good, too. Pimlico Joe sounds good.
But the cheapest price. But let's have a first period sweat here, Matt. Let's go first period under. The over has cashed in 2 of the 3 games, but hopefully Stuart Skinner can continue to play as well as he has played in net for the Edmonton Oilers, and the Stars get a little more resistance. So
he played first period under 1.5, right?
Under 1.5.
6.5 is the total here at Circa. Now 6.5 is shaded under -135 for the game.
And the Superbook has lost that hook. It's down to 6, -20 to the over. So that'll be my sprint here, and then I'll be watching the Pacers game, seeing if we can get an opportunity to bet in-game. Matt, how about this opportunity? The trifecta from G-Bank, First Bet, and VSiN, the $500 trifecta. All you need to do is open a G-Bank Visa Signature credit card. In the first 90 days, deposit and play through $1,000 at First Bet to trigger the $500 trifecta. You'll receive $200 in cashback rewards on your G-Bank Visa Signature credit card. First Bet will give you a $100 deposit match. VSiN completes the trifecta with a free VSiN Pro subscription through August 31st. That's a $200 value, folks. So the $500 trifecta from GBank, First Bank, and VSiN. Head on over to VSiN.com/GBank. That's VSIN.com/GBank. This one-time promotion is limited to customers opening a new account in response to this offer and will not apply to requests to convert existing accounts. Apply now. Terms and conditions do apply. Pacers money line, Pacers -2. First period under +115 for me. Oilers and Stars. Both those games starting a little after the top of the hour. Who will the books need tonight? Jeff Sherman from the Westgate Superbook. He'll join us next right here on VSiN Primetime.